podcast for curious people. Each week, we'll dive into a new topic and explore stories you may or may not have heard of, but you definitely won't forget. Hi, Ashley. Happy first recording in London.
Woohoo! Can't believe
How are you
happening.
doing?
Oh, good. How are you, Allie? How's the States?
Fantastic. Nothing's changed in the 3 days you've been gone, but give us the rundown. How did the move go? What happened?
It was pretty seamless, actually. We had a lot of random strangers help us, which just shows the kindness of the world. I think the highlight thus far was we got to the London airport and our driver was super late. So we're just standing there in the terminal waiting for him for over an hour with over 10 bins full of clothes. And I look at Andrew and I said, "Hey, I really want a coffee." And there's this man near us, this Australian man, and he goes, "You know what? I want a coffee too." He was like, "I'll get you one. What do you want?" And so he came back and he just got us coffees and didn't expect anything in return.
Did he know that you guys were like moving from the States?
No, we hadn't even spoken to him. He just overheard me and chimed in. Isn't that so nice?
I thought when you posted that on like Instagram, I thought he had like conversated with y'all and asked where you were coming from. Oh God, nice people. Ooh.
I know. I was like, what? And then he also had 2 children with him. I thought this was really interesting. He just left the children like with us and went and got the coffee.
A little strange considering we would never do that here. I don't know about Australians.
Okay.
Maybe he was like, okay, these young people have 1 million bags with them. They're not kidnapping my kids and running away.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it statistically, the chances of that happening would be super, super low. So I thought it was really interesting how trusting he was and how he assumed we would be very trusting as well because, strange man buying you a coffee, he could put something in there if he really wanted to. So that's a good first step, I guess, or that first arriving into London is meeting a nice Australian man that just randomly buys you coffee.
A good omen, I would say.
Yeah, it was. And then we saw a rainbow driving in. And I was like,
beautiful.
Okay, wow. I just felt like, I had a Hillary Duff moment. I was like, this is what dreams are made of.
Well, it's only 2 years. You can fall in love because you have to come home to me.
I don't know, Allie. We'll see.
Okay, so before we get into today's episode, let's do our recommendations, and I'll go ahead and just start. I recommend that everyone take the time to research kind of like a news agency that they really like, they really trust, and download the app and have the notifications turned on. Because when I get notifications throughout the day, like sometimes it's the only chance that I have to actually research what's happening in the world and not be on social media. It's like a good way for me to stay connected. I like getting like those pings, like pretty much mine are actually silent, but like I look at my phone when it lights up, it'll be one of these news agencies. I'll take the time and read the headline. If it's something that really interests me, I'll click on it. Obviously the article will pop right up, but either way, it's like good to see throughout the day, like what's happening. And then if there's breaking news, like obviously you're aware what's happening.
That's a great idea. And then you can filter out, like you said, what you care about and what you don't care about too.
Yeah. So go through, it could be a local one. It could be a national one. It could be a big name one, whatever you feel comfortable with. If they have an app, download it, turn notifications on.
Cool. I love that. I'm going to do it. Okay. My recommendation, a little life hack. If you ever go to a new city, you don't know where you're going, you're walking around, wear earphones and turn your GPS volume on. So that way you don't have to keep looking down at your phone and it tells you exactly where to go. That's helped me so much here. And I feel like it makes me look like less of a tourist. So 2 thumbs up for that.
Look at us. Life hacks. Life hacks with Allie and Ash.
We got you guys.
Okay, so this episode's going to be a little different. Obviously, with Ashley being in London and moving for the past couple of weeks, I've been researching, giving her a little bit of time off. Don't worry, she will be back next week. That you can be aware of.
Yay.
But I was thinking, well, what can I do this week to kind of alleviate her and make the episode interesting again? and nothing was really like, oh, I have to cover this right now. But I was like, okay, what if we did one of those like year in review? And so I know we're obviously going to be, when this releases, 12 days into the new year, but it'll be a good time to kind of go back through 2022 and month by month cover some big stories that happened. And then we're going to kind of discuss if we remember them, what we first thought about them, if we knew nothing about them, like, why is that? We'll give a little explanation into what everything is, obviously, but I think it'll be cool for us to kind of look back in the year that was 2022 and what crazy things might have happened.
That is so awesome. Great idea, Allie. I'm really excited for this one.
Okay, well, without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so we're obviously going to start in January. Oh, we are using CBS News for this. I just kind of pulled like their list of stories that they thought were big. I did not really look at these. I looked at the first couple of ones. I wanted to be as surprised as Ashley was at what might have happened last year. And I didn't want to research anything I didn't know about. I wanted to be genuine. But the first one for January 2022 was the James Webb Space Telescope entered orbit. And the telescope has since yielded a series of stunning images of the deep space. So I guess this isn't like the month we saw the photos, but this is the month it orbited into space. If you don't know what we're talking about in regards to the photos, please Google them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look real.
Yeah. They also have an Instagram account that I would really recommend following. I love the pictures that they post. And I'm trying to see, it might just be the NASA account. I'm trying to see what the handle is.
I was about to say, I'm going to go follow it right now. I mean, they're absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, but like in a way, kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, it's wild too because of how light travels. The pictures, like what you're seeing is not real time. So basically in real time, the galaxies that it's like photographing look very different, but so it's like 3 million years ago or something that we're seeing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because of the way that light travels. Isn't that insane? Dude.
I could honestly like cry right now with how crazy that is. And this situation is like, I'm gonna just say it, I believe in aliens.
Oh,
but like
for
the fact that like aliens somewhere else could be living technically millions of years ago, but still be, I don't even know how to talk about it. Like it's very scary that this exists.
Yeah, it's wild. Infinity is wild.
It's very scary. We don't know anything about it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, this James Webb stuff, and I do think it's the NASA account, by the way, that posts all the pictures. But anyway, this James Webb telescope and these photos really got me into space this year. And just the idea of space never ending and the idea of infinity. And if you like this mind-blowing stuff, there's a really good documentary on Netflix about the number infinity and about outer space. And I think it's the best documentary I watched in 2022. It will blow your mind. And you don't even have to be like a science geek to like it. Like it will just, it's a mind fuck, honestly. So check it out.
Okay. Maybe we need to post it in the show notes because I feel like I need to watch it.
Yes.
I did find some facts about the telescope. Mm-hmm. So the Webb is so powerful, it can detect the heat of a bumblebee as far away as the moon. Wow. It's that sensitive to infrared light.
That's crazy.
Webb plans to take baby pictures of the universe.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
It's like we have this 14 billion-year-old story of the universe, but we're missing the first chapter, end quote. And this is from astrophysicist Amber Strawn, who was in an interview with 60 Minutes. Maybe something I need to watch.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Webb was specifically designed to allow us to see those very first galaxies that formed after the Big Bang. So you're right. Like, this isn't even current. How?
You really want to, like, how what?
How are we seeing things that are technically no longer around?
It's because light travels the way that light travels and the way it travels so slowly. So
I still don't understand
by
what
the
you're telling me, Ashley.
time
Like,
by the time like the photons hit our eyes, it's so far away. It took them so long to travel, the photons, to hit the telescope. Let's just say that. And that's why. Because it's so long, because it's so far away. I don't know. It's like I said. If that blows your mind, just wait.
so also the scientists won't be able to fix any issues that arrive with the Webb telescope. So it's pretty much just out there, and what happens happens.
Oh, poor little lone telescope.
They won't be able to get to it, basically. It says it's nearly a million miles away.
Wow. How do they put enough like gas in that to go that far?
I don't think it's
Impressive.
Is it gas, or is it just like traveling in space?
Yeah, something's got to be like moving it forward though, right? Who knows?
Maybe like just I don't know, but
I'm gonna Google
it. Great start to the episode. I'm terrified. I don't understand science. I never will. In one ear, out the other. I don't know how people understand it and can build something like this.
It's pretty dope.
Kudos to them.
Yeah, kudos to humans, man. We're pretty smart. For something.
We got a few good cookies out there. Not me, but
yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Good start to this series because it's just a happy little start. Happy little start.
Okay, and now we get to February, and this is an ongoing issue I'm sure we all know about, but like, do we really know about it? And obviously we're not here to decide who's right, who's wrong. The media will kind of tell you in and of itself, but I think we need a bit more research to thoroughly cover this. In February, Russia invaded Ukraine, igniting a bloody conflict now in its 10th month, which this was probably posted at the end of December, so 11th month. Nope, beginning of January. Okay, yeah, 10th month.
Wow, I can't believe it's been that long.
That's crazy.
Yeah, time flies. I thought it was like 6 months ago, maybe. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just reading, I'm trying to find some articles here that maybe describe what's happening.
Yeah. It's
described as the modern day David and Goliath, because obviously Russia is this major world player, and then you have Ukraine, just kind of this smaller country on its borders. All they wanted to do was be free, independent, and I guess Russia is invading them, trying to force their land into the Soviet Union.
Right.
Is that even still a thing?
No.
The Soviet Union doesn't exist, Allie. Come on. Into Russia.
Yeah, there you go. Do you feel like you know much about why the topic, I guess?
I feel like I know that the land that is now Ukraine used to be a part of the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess Russian officials feel obligated to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
I think they think that it's a piece of them and it's not anybody else's to take. And maybe Ukraine, when they got their independence, were the ones in the wrong. Let's do a quick Google. Why did Russia invade?
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty nuanced too, because I know there's some stuff with NATO and just a bunch of things. I mean, I've tried to look into it and not just, I guess, go by what the mainstream media says, because of course there's always more sides to the story than what CNN or Fox News says. And if you start looking into it, there's a bunch of different people that believe a bunch of different things, and it's just so complicated.
Yeah, okay, so right here, according to the BBC, sending troops into Ukraine from the north, south, and east on the 24th of February, Putin told the Russian people his goal was to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. He declared aim was to protect people subjected to what he called 8 years of bullying and genocide by Ukraine's government, claims which have no basis in evidence. It was framed as an attempt at preventing NATO from gaining a foothold in Ukraine.
Yeah, I knew that. I don't know, man, but apparently Putin's not doing so well. I heard that he's sick.
I mean, if Ukraine has been able to hold on this long, I mean, granted, they've had numerous amounts of help. The United States in general has just given so much to this effort. I mean, when you look at the president too, like how can you not rally around that? You know what I mean? I think in a way it's really good that he obviously he loves his country, and who wouldn't? Like if you live somewhere, you love that place, but like he never left. Like he didn't leave to be safe. So many countries were like, we'll take you, like we'll safe house you, and he was like, no, I'm gonna stay. I think that's a really crazy part of the story, is that people are like, okay, let's get you out, and he was like, no, I'm staying.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. I was like, that's pretty cool. But besides that, I don't know anything about the conflict, and I hate to say it. I think I just start researching it and I get so overwhelmed. I think the general consensus is that Ukraine is in the right and Russia is in the wrong, but
of course, I'd like to cover this, like maybe obviously relatively soon, before it's, it'll never be not talked about. This will always be something for the history books. Yeah. But like you said, I'm kind of scared. I get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Every news source that you read is obviously like pro-Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Like no one ever gives a defense to Russia at all. And that makes sense. But it is kind of scary when you're trying to report something like as fact. We literally don't know over here what the fact is.
So true. So...
yeah, that happened in February. Obviously, that's a good reason to have like a news outlet on your phone, because I do get updates about that quite a bit.
True, sis. True.
Okay, so here we are in March. This is something I don't know about. A little interesting. Maybe this will be a good little mini episode for us. So in March, researchers discovered the wreck of Endurance, the ship from Ernest Shackleton's ill-fated trans-Antarctic expedition that got underway in 1914.
Wow.
So let's click the little article.
I have never heard this. That's pretty ballsy, taking a trip to Antarctica in 1914. Who hurt that guy? They didn't even have, like, down coats back then, did they? Let me guess, they hit an iceberg.
Okay, now, I don't know exactly what happened yet with the ship, but it says that Sir Ernest Shackleton was a veteran of 2 prior polar expeditions, and at the time he was a national hero. He also had traveled to the South Pole. I believe that was a race. I think he lost to someone else. That's what it's looking like. But CBS News says, quote, Shackleton set out to do what was left to do, cross the Antarctic continent overland by dog sled.
Oh, wow.
So that's what he was going for. He wanted to get on a dog sled and cross the Antarctic. Interesting.
Wow. That's very ballsy. He sounds like someone I want to be friends with.
So basically, someone who's researched this and is a big curator for this man's life says, within a day's sail from their destination on the Antarctic continent, the ice closed in around them, the temperature plummeted, and they were frozen in.
Oh, that sucks. What a way to go, man.
It says that Shackleton ordered the Endurance abandoned, supplies were salvaged, the dogs evacuated, and the men camped on ice. And for the next 5 months, the men drifted on ice cubes 1,000 miles away from civilization. What in the...
Did they make it back?
I don't know. But they had to kill the animals. I don't like the story anymore.
Oh, they probably ate the dogs.
No, Ashley, why did you say that?
Sorry. Okay, would you eat a dog if you were starving?
No.
Not your dog, just any dog.
No. I can't even watch animals die on TV shows. I close my eyes.
Hey, that makes you a good person.
Okay, so they got to a South Georgia island. We're just going down the list here. It looks like they survived, or at least some of them.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
So this curator that I was talking about, Caroline Alexander, she's giving a lot of quotes, and she says, quote, blackened from the blubber fires that they had been making for all these months, their hair matted to their shoulders, they walked into the whaling station and nobody recognized them, even though they had in fact visited here before they set out for the expedition.
Yo. That is wild. So they're just like out there killing whales, getting some blubber and burning it.
Oh no, they all survived. 28 men survived.
Wow. That's actually very impressive.
But yeah, I guess they found the ship in March.
Wow. Yeah, because I was going to say, if someone came to me and they're like, yeah, we're sailing to Antarctica, but our ship got stuck, so we've been living on ice blocks, like floating back for 5 months, I would be like, you're fucking lying. Guess not.
Well, it's hard for us, I guess, to think about it that way because nowadays, like if they didn't transmit any sort of signal, like we have the means and resources to go find them.
True.
But back in the early 1914, like they weren't expecting transmission all the time, probably every single day.
Did they even have telephones back then?
I think they did. I think telephones were invented in like the... No, I don't know.
Right. It says, yeah, I think they did. They became available in 1878, but they didn't become common until the 1920s.
Yeah, I'm sure they had some sort of transmission on the ship. I'm sure, like, when they weren't transmitting, it was... people were scared for them, but, like, how do you go about finding them in frozen conditions in Antarctica? They probably thought they were all dead.
Yeah, that's wild. Man.
Okay. All right. We're on April, month 4. And Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson was confirmed as a justice of the United States Supreme Court. Ashley, do you remember this?
I do. Do you?
Do you remember, like, who she is? I do. Like, I know her face. I have no idea.
She's the first Black woman to be elected to the Supreme Court, correct?
Yes, that's what I remember. That's like the
not elected,
general
nominated
thing. Right? I remember. No.
Yeah. You know what I remember from this? I remember her getting asked like the most ridiculous questions in her nomination hearings or whatever, and I was just like,
wasn't it like Ted Cruz?
Of course it was. It was totally Ted Cruz. Yeah, that was cringy. But it's like she's obviously a very qualified woman, so yeah. I don't know why they were asking her these questions. Anyway, it seemed like they were just trying to like trap her into answering something wrong, which was annoying. But that's all I remember.
Yeah, no, actually, that's pretty much it for me too. Like I'm looking at this article, and yeah, I mean, her face in my mind was correct. This is definitely who I thought it was going to be. I know this made a big wave, and this was a great nomination from President Biden. I do remember, obviously, the right-wing parties being frustrated, but they're going to be frustrated no matter who someone else nominates.
Exactly. So it would be the same way if the roles were reversed. It's just how it goes.
I think it's great to see representation everywhere. I don't know much about her or what she stands for, and I think it would take me a long time, longer than this podcast episode, to research that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
same.
Like just the general consensus of seeing representation is always great. So a good April, I would say.
Agreed.
Okay. So we're in May. This is a really, really heavy topic. I obviously don't want to cover who the person is because rotten hell. A gunman in Uvalde, Texas, Uvalde, killed 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary, and it was the 3rd deadliest school shooting in U.S. history. Rotten hell. I don't really think there's anything else to say.
Yeah. It's like horrifying when you see those news headlines but you're not also surprised. That's all I have to say about that. I hate that I'm not surprised.
Okay, moving on to June. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, effectively criminalizing abortion in much of the nation.
Another heavy topic.
Rotten hell. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I had a lot of people ask me my opinion on that, and I don't know. I obviously support women's rights. Yeah, I don't know.
Do we really want this to be a political platform? Like, I know that everybody sees things differently. My mindset has just always been, would I, even though I might not do it, even though it's not something I could ever see myself taking part in or like feeling comfortable doing, like I am not everybody. Yeah. Everybody has different feelings, thoughts, wants, needs in this world. And I just think the biggest thing, at least that I know, is like it's going to happen regardless? Is it going to happen safely, or is it going to happen and kill people in the process? I don't know. This is a hard one to discuss.
It is.
I know we probably have so many people listening that feel a certain way about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I just think for it to be a woman's body to be a government issue is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I mean, just, and I want to keep this podcast, like you said, not political and more factual. And I think the fact is people see it two different ways. And that is people see it as killing a child, and people see it as telling a woman what she can do with her body. Those are the two ends of the stick. So whichever one you believe, you're going to be for or against it. Personally, I don't know what I believe. I don't, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I think that everyone has a right to their own opinion, and like, that's just the fact. So that's where I'm at.
No, I agree. That's why I think like allowing there to be safe havens for people, but also educate. Like, I think if this, it's crazy to me that this happened back in June. And since we've seen like no advances in sex education for young students or young peers. We've seen like no sort of like free, condom, like stuff like that hasn't been given out. We've seen no advances towards like foster care systems, orphanages, things like that for kids. I think if like you're gonna force people to have children that they possibly can't take care of or don't want to take care of, because some people don't have maternal instincts. Look at mothers who kill their children. Like, there are people in the world who don't have maternal or paternal instincts and don't want children. That doesn't mean they will never have children. But giving these people no resources to take care of these kids, or giving these kids no hopes of futures once they're in systems like our foster care system. Like, I think deciding this is one thing, but then doing nothing to help on the other end, like, is absolutely batshit crazy to me. Like, if I saw more advances in these types of systems or these type of educations, like, maybe I would feel a different way. But basically, we're just saying, like, no, you made a mistake, possibly. Like, and I get that people say, like, well, some women have abortions all the time. Well, that's some women. That's not everybody. Most of the time, like, a woman has made a mistake or something has happened traumatically in her life to force her to be carrying something she doesn't want. You're just basically saying, sorry, you have to deal with this, and then nothing on the other end. Like, there's so many things that come into play with, if you want people to have these children and not in this early life, you have to give them XYZ in order for them to be successful. And we're just not doing that as a country. And that's what I think is crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, it seems like there would be some simple measures we could take to make it less likely that women would need abortions. The first being making birth control available over the counter. That's so simple, yet Republicans have blocked that legislation previously. And that's just a fact. The second thing I will point out, and I agree with you, is, people that claim to be pro-life, it seems like they're only supportive of pro-life policies that affect a child in the womb. But like you said, not putting much needed resources to our foster care system. And as someone who has like a sister who fostered children, I can tell you the foster care system is fucked up. So I agree with what you're saying.
Or like, if a child is given up for adoption, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, the child's just given like for free, basically. Why does it cost so much money for a family then to adopt that child?
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. We need legislation to make adoption much more accessible. Like, my sister was trying to foster to adopt a child, and it just went awry and all of this drama happened. It's not easy to do. And yeah, I agree with you. We need to make the adoption process way more easy in this country.
Yeah.
We should start there, in my opinion.
I understand, I guess, like, the counter argument with that was like, people have to get paid for doing their jobs. Like, you have to spend so much time to make sure like the family's safe.
Yeah, but not $40,000 or more.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me that you can put a price on a child who has lost family and be like, oh, this person wants you in their family, we're going to charge you exponentially so you can have a family. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Agreed. So there's that. It's a complicated topic, and I personally believe that everyone has a right to have their opinion on that, even if it's not the same as mine. Like I said, though, I don't know that
Mm-hmm.
I've fully formed one because I just think it's so nuanced. Also, important note, I grew up in a very religious home. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up being very pro-life. Yeah, just something about me and where my biases may lie.
All right. Moving on from that large topic, in July, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated just 2 days before the country's parliamentary elections. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, I remember like mentions of it, but because it didn't affect me, I never really dove into it. I wonder what the reason was.
Oh, I think I do kind of remember this. Like, I remember the gun. Like, I feel like I remember the stories about the gunman in the crowd. Yeah, he was standing at an intersection outside of a train station in the western city of Nara, speaking to a crowd as cars and vans passed behind his exposed back on the road where the assailant appeared. Oh, so he was shot from behind.
Oh,
They identified him as Tetsuya Yamagami. The bodyguards failed to protect him in the seconds after he was shot because he appeared to have missed the first time.
oh my God. What was this guy's motive, I wonder?
Probably just didn't want him to be elected. Like, didn't like what he stood for.
Or it was this a CIA operative?
It was a homemade gun. It had like duct tape. Like, it was like duct tape. Yeah, he like literally built a gun.
Didn't know you could do that. Interesting.
Okay, so the name of the suspect, like I said, Tetsuya Yamagami. He served in the Maritime Self-Defense Force from 2002 to 2005, which is a part of like their military. So he would train with live ammunition and do breakdowns and maintenance of guns. So that kind of clarifies maybe why he was able to build one. Shooter blamed the Unification Church for his mother's financial problems, fueling a grudge against Abe, who he associated with the church. That's what the media was saying. They had said that Yamagami was angry at an organization, and they took it out on the prime minister, who appeared to be a part of this organization or maybe stand up for this organization.
Interesting.
Because he wasn't a member. Like, it says Abe was not a Unification Church member. He attended like one event hosted by the organization.
See, that just feels like reaching to me. I don't know. Okay, this is one thing that I saw today. People are saying how we've all become conspiracy theory obsessed.
Yeah, we kind of have.
But, I mean, the evidence that JFK was assassinated by the CIA came out this past year. Just saying. And now anytime someone gets assassinated, my little brain is like, Especially when the explanation is so weird, you know?
Not at all the same, but like I get what you're saying. Like, we are kind of obsessed with these theories because even I, who I, I guess I'll say I'm a royal enthusiast in a way. I think it's very interesting that this family can still rule in air quotes in this like modern world. I bought Prince Harry's book the other day when it came out, Spare by Prince Harry.
Spare.
Morgan and I keep calling it Spare. And I put it on Instagram and like my caption was like, "Tell me who really killed Diana." But like I know that it was just like a crazy news storm media. Like the driver was under the influence of alcohol. Like they were driving really fast through these tunnels, like trying to get away. It was just like a bad circumstance that led to her like untimely death, the crash of the car and stuff. But of course, in today's world, it's a conspiracy theory that the crown killed Diana.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's an interesting one. There's so many out there, and you can get into a rabbit hole when you start diving into them, and it's kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know. I don't know if it's bad because at least we're thinking for ourselves and not just taking things at face value. I don't know. But you also like can't just go through not trusting the world too. So maybe it's just a balance. But I don't feel like you're a big conspiracy theorist, Allie. So I am.
I think they're fun, but like I don't know too many of them. I would say. Like, I kind of take things at face value.
See, I like that approach too. Like I think they're fun. It doesn't mean that I believe them. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but back to July. I mean, this was incredibly sad that this happened, that someone, I mean, we obviously from our earlier month know that crazy things happen in our country. So it's sad that it can happen kind of anywhere. And he seemed like a really great man. Like, everyone spoke out after his passing, talking about like how much they would miss him, how much of an impact that they had. They said he was, quote, according to Obama, he was, quote, devoted to both the country he served and the extraordinary alliance between the United States and Japan.
Yeah, that's sad.
I didn't remember much about it. Now, like, researching it right now, like, there was more to it that I did remember.
Yeah.
But based on that first headline, if we would have just gone off that headline, I would have been like, oh, I don't remember this happening.
It's crazy too. Like, I feel like we don't see a lot of news coming from other countries in the U.S. So it's easy to miss those headlines.
Okay. August, the FBI conducted a search of Mar-a-Lago, the home of former President Donald Trump, and found classified materials, including documents labeled top secret. I'm so tired of this.
Me too. I was literally going to say, can we just skip this one? Why is he still relevant? You don't even go here. Tired not even president. Bye.
I mean, honestly, there's not much to really say because do we know what they found? Do we know why? Like, we don't know anything, and this is still ongoing because they're still fighting in the courts on whether or not they should be able to, I think they were able to read his tax returns, something like that. Honestly, I just am not keeping up. Like, ever since he was elected 7 years ago, like, it's just been one freaking random story after another with this guy.
I know. It's exhausting. And the fact that he's running again, I'm like, I don't want these stories anymore. Like, this you said, get the app with your news, whatever. I think I probably had that and deleted it when he was president. Cause it was just like, Donald Trump did this wrong. Donald Trump did this. And it's just like, can we stop fucking talking about him?
Mom, I want to go home. Remember when you were like younger and an election would be coming up, like elementary school, and they would do like a fake election in school?
Yeah.
I want to go back to those days. I knew nothing.
Oh,
I didn't have to care. Now I have to care, and like it hurts my heart to have to care.
Yeah, because you actually have.
That's bad to say,
no,
but
I know what you mean. Though it's just like so dramatic and not fun and negative. So
yeah, like real world, our opinion actually matters nowadays, or like it will in the next 20 years, because we're getting older. We will be the ones to make the biggest impact. Maybe not right now in our 20s, but definitely our 30s and 40s, and that's scary. That's so scary.
Yeah, I agree. I still don't know what I think or believe about like 50% of things. So, and it changes for me like daily. So,
well, this also goes to show like kind of how crazy our court system are and how slow things can be, that this seems like a big deal. Like, quote, top secret documents found in his Florida property. Like, why are they there? Like, this seems like it should be kind of solved right away. Like, what is this stuff? But the fact that we're in January and we're still dealing with this, they're just fighting tooth and nail about this. And it's just absolutely crazy that something like this isn't immediately taken care of.
I haven't heard any updates either. Did he ever get charged with those, or are they still trying to decide?
I think they were fighting about that. I think they were fighting about his tax returns. Like,
okay, let's see.
Oh, and they did find, did you see that they did find classified documents in Biden's office, like his old office?
No.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I have some like AP news is saying like, here's the side by side. It'll take me a while to read it. Okay. If you're interested though, like something similar possibly is happening on the other end. They were found in his old like vice presidency, like something that was affiliated with him. Some lawyers were clearing out, found them, immediately turned them over. It doesn't seem like he knows why they were there. So it doesn't seem like there's any sort of legal thing there.
Yeah, they're also not doing like a criminal investigation on Biden right now. And I think they are on Trump.
Yeah.
So
that did just like pop up yesterday, maybe the day before. So that's interesting. A little side by side there. Yeah. See what's going on in the world. All right, Ash, we are on to September, the 9th month of the year. My girl, Britain's Queen, Elizabeth II, died in Scotland at the age of 96. Her son Charles succeeded her as king. Rest in peace. Moment of silence.
R.I.P.
Lizzie, my girl.
Okay.
This was so sad for me.
It is sad. Although I did see some people being like, well, she was a colonialist, so.
Oh, for sure. Like, That's what I was saying earlier. Like, I don't understand how this family still is a monarchy and, like, quote, rules. I guess it's more of an institution, like something to kind of look up to. I think it's crazy that they still kind of view the king and queen of England as, like, the closest person to God. Seems like in today's day and age, yeah, they're like the leaders of the church. They are the closest
Oh,
people to God.
wow. That's weird.
Seems a little interesting in today's world that is still a thing. But I think about, like, everything she lived through, like the history of her life. She saw so much. And Morgan, my sister, and I always said, like, I don't think a lot of Americans understand when she dies. And I think we still don't understand because it didn't seem to really happen. Like, we didn't really get it. But, like, when someone who's been reigning for over 70 years dies, like, so much changes within the country.
Yeah.
They went through a large period of mourning. All of their money immediately had to be changed to Charles.
Wow. I didn't
Like,
realize that.
the succession happened so quickly. He almost had, like, no time to mourn because, like, as soon as she passed away, he was king.
Wow.
And he hasn't had his coronation yet, but, like, he's still the active leader of Great Britain, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I just got here on Sunday, so I haven't really seen much to do with the royal family, but I did turn on the news for the first time, and they were just absolutely roasting Prince Harry and his book, and they're like,
Fair.
yeah, they're like, Prince Harry's book is already 50% off because no one wants to buy it.
No, I don't doubt that at all. But here in the United States, like, it's like front and center at the Barnes and Noble.
I think they're just saying that. I think a lot of people have bought it. They're like, he leaves nothing to the imagination in his book. It's disgusting.
Yeah, they're not big fans of him. But they're definitely more on the actual royal side. They take their side for sure. But, I mean, Queenie, R.I.P. We'll see how Charles does. If you know anything about the history of the royal family, Charles being king is a bit of a bummer. We all kind of hope that she would live forever, at least until maybe William could be king
It
first.
seems like no one likes Charles, huh?
No, not his biggest fan. But hey, I don't know the guy personally. It's not like he can destroy the country. There's very little power he actually holds. So we'll see. Eventually it'll be William again. Probably within the next 10 years, it'll be William.
Is Charles the one with the sausage fingers?
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand why some people don't celebrate her, or at least they celebrate, like, her passing. I think celebrate her passing is maybe incredibly mean to do or say, but there were people that were doing it. Like, like you said, they didn't believe in what she did, especially in her early days of ruling. But it's crazy. She has been around for a very, very, very long time, and for her to pass away this year, or 2022, very sad. I was sad.
She lived for a long time, though, so shout out to her.
Shout out. All right. We are on to October, and our guy, Elon Musk, took control of Twitter, bringing to the social media giant a brash leadership style along with thousands of layoffs. Oh, Ashley is rolling her eyes.
I actually used to be kind of an Elon stan. I just thought he was really smart, and I was just very impressed by him, I guess. Not anymore. I feel the same way when I see his name in the news as I do when I see Donald Trump's name in the news. And I'm just like, can we shut up about this man?
Again, I don't really care. My boyfriend will be devastated if for some reason Twitter does get shut down. That's his only source of social media. Myself, I don't really care that much. I think that this is just it's like a bit at this point.
Yeah.
This whole, like, Elon Musk owning Twitter and running Twitter, like, okay.
So what do you, yeah. He also, he fired a bunch of employees and then told people that they had to, like, dedicate their life to working at Twitter. They're going to work there. And I'm just like.
But, like, I'm sure that's kind of probably his mindset with a lot of things that he's done. Like, that was probably his mindset and how he became so like
Yeah,
owning these companies and stuff and starting these things. Like, I'm sure at the beginning he was like, I have to dedicate my life for this if I want it to work.
true.
I
That's
think
true.
maybe that's being taken out of context. Like, Twitter can be used as a powerful agent, as like a news source
Yeah.
and a way to like bring people together. I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to give like a motivational speech and he was like, let's dedicate our lives to this. And that just got taken out of context.
I don't even care, honestly, at this point. I will say something that seems a little nuanced to me is this idea of free speech and like how he allowed certain people to come back onto Twitter that were previously banned. However, I don't think I support free speech, responsible speech, and I do. It's not black and white. It's very convoluted and difficult to say. And I don't like people getting censored, yada, yada, yada. That goes without saying. However, now, rather than a board of people deciding if something gets banned, it's one man. And that is not free speech. He's like, who did he ban off of Twitter because they were making fun of him? It was some celebrity.
It wasn't Doja Cat, was it?
Yeah, it was Doja Cat. Yeah.
I don't know if he banned her, but like he locked her account because she couldn't change her name.
Okay. And I think it was like a joke, right? But at the same time, if he just decided that he didn't like someone, he could just kick them off. So I don't know. I don't know that it's any better now that he has it. We'll see. I'll give him a chance.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm like, Twitter's just like not what I go to for anything. I think it can be used in a great way. And if it's not, maybe people just stop going on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If he doesn't do well, I don't think it harms anybody. Well, I guess it could harm people because you do have like crazy people that will always take fiction as fact out there. But
you can find that anywhere. Mm-hmm. Whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, like you can find that anywhere. So
yeah. I think if anything, it's just we're just losing another social media platform. We'll look back and be like, oh, did you use Twitter? Do you remember Twitter?
That's like MySpace, RIP.
Yeah. We don't know much about it. I really couldn't care less about Elon Musk. I just find it funny. The guy looks kind of weird.
He is a weird dude.
Okay, so November is something like I don't really know. I don't really know what we're going to discuss about it, except maybe just it is what it is. A projected, quote, red wave fizzled as Republicans won a slim majority in the House and Democrats held control of the United States Senate. Do you know what this means?
Yeah. Basically, people just voted for Democrats more than Republicans, and I can tell you why. It's because of the Roe versus Wade thing. I think that's an issue that goes across party lines, especially for younger women and just women in general that maybe would consider themselves Republicans that then voted Democrat because they wanted women treated fairly.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much where everything sits as of November. For anyone interested, I'm sure you were probably keeping up with it as it was happening. And we'll be keeping up with it going forward. Like I said, 2023 is my year. Understand.
Get it, girl.
Ash, we have reached our last month. Possibly there's two stories. I'm going to start with the first one. Well, I'm going to start with the second one listed, if this makes sense. Stay with me. WNBA star Brittany Griner returned home after a prisoner swap with Russia. She said she'll return to the court this season.
And
congratulations, Brittany.
And congratulations to the Merchant of Death.
Yes, congratulations, Merchant of Death, wherever you may be. I hope it's an island sipping a margarita doing nothing.
Hopefully not merchanting death anymore.
No, hopefully not. I mean, obviously the fact that this woman was in an internment camp in Russia is bonkers, crazy, scary.
Yeah, that's wild. For weed.
No, I'm very happy that she is home. Like, it absolutely hurt my heart that she was taken from her wife and her family and had to go through this. I think that this just opens a larger conversation into why is any United States citizen still in Russian prisons? Because there are more than one still over there.
Good point.
But I also don't, I'm like, you can't negotiate with Russia. Like, I just think that that's something, when they have someone actually powerful in their custody that belongs to us, like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what would be the best way to go about it. Maybe I need to join the CIA, but I don't think Brittany Griner, they got what they wanted out of it, basically. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, well, people were really pissed because you read the headline and you're like, what? You traded this girl for this horrible guy that, killed a bunch of people. I don't even know what this guy did, the Merchant of Death. Don't even know his real name. All I know is if Brittany was a family member of mine, I wouldn't care. And so that's how I feel. I do feel kind of bad for her because I do feel that it was kind of a publicity stunt. Like you said, Allie, there's a bunch of people that are in prison that are Americans in Russia. And it almost seemed like a little cringy when they had her at the White House right when she got back. And I just can't imagine being held in a Russian prison and having to go like right to the White House and like be on camera. And I don't know. I felt for her. So I don't know. I just think she was kind of a pawn almost. That's how it looked to me.
Yeah, I'm sure regardless, she's like just happy to be free. Her family's happy for her to be home. I mean, this will just follow her for forever, though. I don't know about her returning to the court this season. Seems a little quick. Seems like maybe you should take your newfound freedom and the things that you've learned and maybe advocate for different people to be released, get involved. What can you do? And I'm not saying that she's not. It's just the general consensus in the headlines of her returning to the court or little eye roll to me, but everyone is entitled to live their life how they see fit.
Agree.
Okay, this is our last story. It's a double for December. We originally said that we were not going to talk about it until we knew more. A suspect was arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. It gives me fucking chills. Like, it makes my body like I have to like stretch myself out and like warm myself up. Like seeing these headlines, seeing these videos of him, seeing these, and I listen to true crime. I keep up with true crime. Like very little really gets to me. This gets to me, and I think it's like maybe because they were so close to my age. Like I remember being in college. I remember living in a house off campus. And I had not a care in the world. And maybe it's the look in his eyes. Like, I don't know what it is, but I mean, obviously, kudos to the police officers. They did an incredible job.
Yeah.
I think our culture, the reason I didn't want to cover it is that you could get so much conflicting information off social media because everyone thought they knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that they had to say they were body language experts. They were pathologists, everything XYZ. They could solve the murder for the cops. No problem. As someone who worked at a police department in college and my boss was a detective, I understood that they were giving us absolutely nothing for good reason. Like they were never going to come forward and tell us who they thought did it, who they suspected, what they were doing to try and catch him. Like they were not going to really clear people unless like it caused any sort of danger to them. Like they would clear friends, family, people close to them, but I don't think people understand that the police don't come out every couple of days and tell you their progress.
Right.
They never have, they never will. And so it's so infuriating to see people think that I was just skipping videos. Like I almost stayed off TikTok for a period of time because it's infuriating to have people think that they know what's happening in a murder case and to say that the police are doing a bad job. You don't know. You have no idea. They were onto this guy very quickly, and it takes a while to get things done. And that is not the police's fault. That's no one's fault. It's just you have to be sure. You have to be sure that you have the right person through DNA evidence, through cell phone technology, through GPS tracking. Everything that they did, it takes time. You have to stack things onto each other. You get one thing correct, you move on to the next. Bada boom, bada bang. And then you get an arrest. He was arrested 7 weeks afterwards?
Yeah. But
7-8 weeks?
Like you said, they spent that entire time just building a case against him. Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, obviously innocent until proven guilty, but it looks pretty stark for this guy. I think it's pretty obvious that he probably did it. Probably.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize you have to get an arrest warrant signed off. Like a police officer can't just go and arrest someone. And most of the time things have to be signed off by the DA's office because they believe that there is a case to pursue. So you have to have that evidence that they can then take into court. You get time afterwards to obviously build your case and find new evidence and XYZ. But they're not going to issue an arrest warrant unless they feel confident that they can get a conviction if it goes to court.
Right, which is good.
So
I mean, you don't want the cops just going around arresting random people,
yeah,
and searching people's homes with no warrant. So it's a good thing, in my opinion. And I think they were really strategic to make sure that he didn't get wind of the fact that they were onto him, and so he wasn't able to run or anything like that. So, I mean, kudos to them for making it this far, and hopefully this guy pays for what he did. I mean, I don't know how you can ever pay for it, but
I'm praying for the family's sake, the friend's sake, the community's sake. He just pleads guilty. I'm really hoping that there's not some sort of like blown out trial where he tries to defend himself in some crazy way.
I agree. So do you think that he was an idiot, or do you think, I mean, obviously, he had a degree in criminology or PhD or some shit. I mean, how does someone who's that educated on the topic like make it so obvious that they did it? Do you think he wanted to be found out?
No, I think he was delusional.
Yeah.
I think he had ideas of grandeur, and I think he was smarter, obviously, than he thought he was. I also think, we obviously don't know who the target was. We don't know if he expected to go in and kill all 4 people.
Right.
And I do think killing 4 people in one night for someone who's never done it before, at least what we know of, he's never done this before, you're going to mess up. Like it's like if you go in to target one person and you are met with 3 that you possibly weren't expecting, yeah, count your days. Like there's no way someone like him could get away with it.
Yeah.
No way at all. So I think that's what it came down to. We obviously don't know for sure if he meant to kill all 4, what the deal was, because he did leave 2 alive that lived in the house. So there's speculation on that. But I think at the end of the day, like he was delusional. He thought that he was better than he was. And then when he was met with 4 people, some of them probably fought back. Like, yeah. And he probably was not expecting that. So
yeah. Well, as you said earlier, rotten hell.
Rotten hell. But yeah, that is our recap for the year. There's a couple things obviously that we want to learn more about ourselves. If you're interested, take a look. This is a CBS News article. We'll link it in the show notes. There's links off of this article about a lot of these topics, so you can read a lot more there. Like I said, keep up with your news media outlets this year. We will definitely be keeping up with the Idaho murder case. I don't even want to use his name.
Nope.
Rotten hell. We're going to try and build things like our TikTok, put some more reels on. So cases like that will probably be more posted on social media. I will never cover this case until he's convicted and put behind bars. And at that point, everyone knows what's happening. So
love that.
But out of the respect for the family, let's try and stay off social media with speculation. Let's just wait until the police give us the answers. And they will. They will for sure be giving us answers. So let's just wait. But yeah, I thought this was fun. Ash, what did you think?
Yeah, it was so fun. It made me realize that I need to pay more attention to the news. So there's that.
Yeah, we're good headline girls. We were good headline girls. Now we're going to be some serious researchers.
Now we're duo dive. So we dive into the topics, okay?
The duo dive. Maybe we'll make a song for everybody. Okay. Yeah, we'll do this at the end of 2023. And we'll kind of compare. I think we should listen back to this at the end of the year and see, how much more we knew at the end of 2023 in comparison. But
I love that idea.
I liked this. This was fun. Next week, Ash will be back with a story. Who knows what she's going to pick out of that little head of hers.
So excited.
But we will be back to regularly scheduled content then. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.